Welcome to
The Savory Scoop.
This is a conscious, safe space where we talk about mindset, wellness, and nutrition. Today's conscious conversation is about the power of community. So, ladies, what do you think about the power of community, or how would you actually define that?
All right, so I think community is basically a safe space, just like this one that we're trying to create here, where people come together with a shared goal, a shared kind of mission, and help support each other through all the little ups and downs and through each person's journey. And I think it's just so important, especially in this day and age when we're so disconnected.
So true.
So true. I believe that your vibe attracts your tribe. And when you're living in your authenticity and your authentic self, you start to attract a really great community of like-minded people. And that's wonderful to have that support. I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely. For me, it was knowing that I am not alone in my struggles. So when I went through challenges or suffering, with different things, just having a community just helped me realize that I don't have to go through things by myself. There are other people also going through very similar things, and we can support each other. So I'm so excited that we were able to create this, together. And then as far as, the reason I shared the struggles as, one of the key factors to finding a community is when we are extremely happy, we don't necessarily need support most of the time, right? We're okay when we're feeling positive and there's nothing to overcome. When an example would be when I was going through my divorce, I went through a very difficult time experiencing clinical depression, anxiety, and at the time, all my friends were all married with children. Just like you were saying, Debbie, we, attract who we are. So at the time I was married with kids, so I attracted married people into my lives. And none of them could resonate with what I was feeling or what I was going through because they hadn't experienced that type of suffering or that type of pain. So for me, what really helped through that experience was finding other women who were also either going through divorce or overcame divorce. And we kind of transitioned, we held space for each other to cry and, share the ups and downs. But we were also supporting each other to not kind of stay in that place or feel bitter and angry or judgmental, but mostly transition from that mindset of something that you're broken or something is wrong with you to a mindset of healing and kind of learning about the conditioning that brought about that suffering, and that community is still a part of my life. It doesn't matter, even though I've gotten remarried, they're still a part of my life because we grew together.
You're connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think what you said about, when you're doing great, you don't reach out to other people, right? I think, but it's so important to have that foundation be there as a pillar in your life. That way, it's not just for bad times. You want to share, the good times, the wins with your community as well. It's kind of like nutrition or exercise. You want to make sure you have it, you've got a good foundation there. So you have people in your life, whether it's an actual, named support group or whatever it may be, there for you when you need it. Yeah.
Definitely. Excuse me. For me, a lot of my self-exploration when I was really discovering my food allergies and food sensitivities, and just my soul searching and my evolving was by myself. I didn't have much of a community. Mm-hmm. And then when I was pregnant with my second daughter, I have 3 daughters, 4 bonus children. Mm-hmm. I had an amazing midwife who really helped to like empower me and teach me so many things about nutrition, and certain things that I thought I was eating that were healthy had no nutrients in them, and just really planted a lot of seeds, which led to me discovering where she worked at a TCM place. So I met a really wonderful community there, and they taught traditional Chinese medicine. So that kind of planted a seed where I thought, I would love to learn about herbalism one day. So after I had my daughter, I got really sick with candida, and I used traditional Chinese medicine to help heal myself. And then I decided that I would start studying herbalism. So I started meeting a lot of like-minded people, and then immersed myself into nutrition and just attracted a lot more of like-minded people who had had similar experiences as me. And those are still people that I know that I can reach out to and call at any time for support or advice. And it's just a beautiful thing, like you were saying, Simi,
So
Yeah.
that is.
That's so wonderful. You were mentioning how you were going through something, you were going through a struggle by yourself, right? So that reminds me of when I struggled with the board exams in med school, and I actually had to take some time off, had to, retake one of the exams. And, that's when I first got into meditation and such, but it was a very lonely journey. It was just me by myself, trying to study, but then also trying to meditate and cultivate these habits. And then as I got a little older, I was like, okay, it would be really good to find a community, because the other really important thing about community is accountability. I think it's one of the biggest things. I think, hey, how are you doing? How is your practice going?
Right.
What's new there? And so I actually found a meditation group. It's called Wake Up Tampa Bay. It's for people in their 20s and 30s, and they meet every 2 weeks. And I had stints of time where it's a solo project, right? Trying to meditate by yourself, and it's a very individual activity. You just do it by yourself typically, or so I thought. And so when I was able to find that community, it kept me accountable, because there were times where I wasn't meditating at all because my mental health was not so good. I didn't feel like, doing things that were good for me. So if I told one of them that, hey, I'm going to be there, then I didn't really have an excuse to not go, right? And then you never regret going to a place like that where your healthy habits, your self-care is cultivated, or you're growing in some way, right? So that was really really powerful to me, because I think in my friend circle I didn't really have that.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard as an adult to seek out people who are into the same things as you.
Yeah.
And you sometimes somehow stumble into it,
Yeah.
There's serendipitous moments where you come across, I think I found out about that community when I was at a veg fest with my little sister some years ago, and I came across a little table. I was like, oh, it's a meditation meetup group. Why didn't I, think of that? Let me just sign up.
Right.
And now I'm actually more active in it. So it actually really helps me. So that's been really beautiful for me.
I love how you shared the accountability piece, because most of the time it's that small step that we have to take to find comfort, right? When we're going through something. And that one small step is finding that one person sometimes, right? That can support us, that can even clear our heads. Sometimes we get so caught up in our thinking, like trying to solve something all by ourselves because we think we are this independent creature or human that has to solve all the problems that come up
By
all by
ourselves. It's like-
ourselves. And and if you look at nature, everything is interdependent. There is no independent anything, right?
Yeah.
So accountability is, it's just that natural, organic step, I think, that we can all take no matter what we're trying to, accomplish
Definitely.
or find support to overcome something, Yeah.
Well, one of the questions that I'm curious about is how do you find typically like these communities, or what types of resources have you individually maybe discovered along your journeys to find a community?
I think, Christina, you've talked about meetup groups.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
I was just thinking about Meetup, and there are so many different communities that you can find there. And then the really neat thing about that is once you get around other people who are even somewhat interested in what you're interested in, you find individuals who then have communities of their own,
Of course.
and you can kind of explore more avenues in that way. So I like Meetup, and what else?
There's a lot of online communities that you can
Yeah.
find through social media as well. Facebook, especially. I'm a little bit newer to Instagram, but I think Facebook has a lot of groups that you can join. I know I'm a member of many of them, but whether it be like, you're changing your nutrition and you need a support group. There are a lot of people
absolutely.
there are celiac support groups. Like I have celiac and I have different food allergies. There are so many support groups for that. And what's really cool is that with me having the restaurant, I hear almost every day how my restaurant is listed on different support groups or apps. And there are
that's wonderful.
there's so many different apps out there, like Gluten Dude, or I just found out we're listed in the Tampa Bay Celiac Guide, and there are so many resources out there to help support. Definitely.
That's
You just have to
amazing.
seek it out,
Yeah.
and ask around. Ask,
Yes. Yes, don't be afraid to ask. Like that was the greatest lesson for me, going through something, just reach out to, people at work, because it's okay to be human and ask for that support to find out where I can find that type of community that we're looking for. And sometimes it's, they're all in front of us. And
Right.
because no one's sharing, you just don't know about it
Sure.
until you talk about it. And I love how you said social media, because I was part of this group. I probably still am, caffeine addiction group. I used to drink like 3 cups of coffee just in the morning, And so I was part of that group, and it was really helpful
Yeah.
to know some people ran in the morning instead of drinking that cup of coffee, so because it's that dopamine, it's that I'm alive feeling that you want to feel. So breaking that, it was group was very vital to at least mine, my recovery process.
It's like one vice for another, right? Or with food, like for me, what's relative is replacing the unhealthy ingredient with a healthy ingredient, Yeah, it's just making that shift.
Yes.
Yeah, I think again, social media, it has its negatives, but I think it's really, there's so many, like you were saying, so many different groups, so many different communities that form, and all the conversations that come from that, and people asking for advice on this and that, and it's really nice to see, and you can so much inspiration.
Absolutely.
And people saying, keep it going, you can do it. And I something for me, actually, another way that I was able to create community. So I'm exclusively plant-based right now, and I was the only one in my circle in my life for a while, and I attended some conferences in during residency, and I was actually able to made so many friends there, and because in the medical field there's not a lot of focus on nutrition, right? So I felt like such an outlier for, even talking about nutrition with my patients and talking about, plant-based diets. And so when I went to this conference, it was in California, I felt finally like I'm not like an outlier to be ignored. Like there's actually like a huge medical community behind me who understands, where I'm coming from and supports me. So I then friended them on social media, and they post things, they support each other, and
beautiful.
Oh, how you doing? Happy birthday, and it's just really nice. So yeah, that was another venue for me. So conferences, but yeah,
that's a good place for resources for sure.
Yeah. At the restaurant, actually, it's really a very beautiful thing because of the nature of the restaurant being allergen free. I meet people almost every day who have the same food allergies as me, who are eating foods they haven't eaten in 10, 20 years, and we cry together and we hug. And there was a woman there the other night who was pregnant, and she was like, "Thank you so much for doing what you're doing." And I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. And that for me is like a new sense of community now. I'm creating relationships with these beautiful people who come and eat, and they become regulars. And it's really amazing. And I'm very grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to also start a community. It's almost like, Debbie, you were the creator of that community. So it's almost like if we can't find one, we create one.
Yeah.
Right? And put it out there, and people will reach out to us. And yeah.
And I think, from the medical point of view, the point of view of maintaining habits, community is so important for consistency, right? And so I think that's why, really whenever we want to do something, make a healthy habit in our life, let's not just try to do it by ourselves. Let's seek out other people. Let's seek out support. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and
you never
work
know
together.
when your story is also going to inspire somebody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, stories are meant to be told, right? We're not supposed to be going through something and overcome something and not share, because if it helps one person, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Because we were all helped.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So it's all about passing it on. And that's what's so beautiful about, I feel like, all of us coming together and sharing what we have learned, what we have experienced, how we overcame it, and the struggles we are still going through. Because
Every day.
Right. It's a journey.
Because
it's
we're
not,
human.
So, yeah, very grateful to be part of this as well. I guess we feel pretty good about this conversation.
I feel complete.
And,
Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions, you can email us at connect@thesavoryscoop.com. Or if you watch us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, and you can put any questions you have in the comments, of course. You can also find us on social media at The Savory Scoop.
Whatever you're going through, you are not alone.
Be kind to yourself.
Give yourself some love today.
See you on the next episode.